Hello everyone and welcome to my biggest video ever. This debate has been raging for years and it seems that very soon a few certain YouTubers are going to get together and make a video on this. And so I figured that before that video takes the community by storm, I would give my thoughts on this very long and in-depth fight. Well, my analysis of it is long, the fight itself won't last very long at all. Without further ado, let's begin. Heisei Godzilla versus MonsterVerse Godzilla. We'll be covering a lot of categories here, so sit back and relax. Height goes to MonsterVerse Godzilla since he is 119.8 meters tall, whereas Heisei is only 100 meters. Weight goes to Legendary Godzilla since he has a weight of 99,634 metric tons, and Heisei has a weight of only 60,000 tons. Corporal build goes to MonsterVerse Godzilla due to his slightly slender and more muscular build. Aggression goes to MonsterVerse Godzilla since he'd be more aggressive upon seeing another kaiju who could rival his position as king. Intimidation would go to MV since he does have an intimidation display, however it only really intimidates people, so it's clearly not very good, but he does have it. Terrain compatibility goes to Heisei Godzilla, as not only can he fight on land and water just as well as MV, but Heisei can survive in space since his cells were able to after MonsterVerse Godzilla. But effectiveness goes to MonsterVerse Godzilla since he was able to throw around the Malmuto, who weighs around 15,000 tons. But that's not it. He was also able to throw Kong, who weighs 90,000 tons, just with his mouth. Lifting strength goes to Heisei as he was able to pick up and throw the 150,000 ton Mechagodzilla, whereas MV could only just put the 135,000 ton Muto Prime onto his back. Striking strength goes to MonsterVerse Godzilla as his tail whip was able to decimate Malmuto and knock back Kong, but its most impressive showing was when it pushed back Ghidorah in Boston. Travelling speed goes to Legendary Godzilla as he can sprint at up to 350 miles per hour, whereas Heisei, in terms of travelling speed, is not very fast at all. Combat speed also goes to Legendary Godzilla as when slightly annoyed he was able to wreck Kong in melee combat and has proven he is fast in combat. Reaction speed goes to Heisei Godzilla as he was able to react to Space Godzilla's crystals, which move at almost immeasurable speeds, being able to travel from one side of the universe to the other in one day. Stability goes to Heisei Godzilla as we have seen that MV is very easily knocked over in combat. Heisei has also been knocked over a lot, but his much lighter weight means he would be easier to knock over, and despite that, he has still been knocked over less than MV. Endurance goes to Heisei as he is able to take attacks from all his opponents and still be able to fight back and keep on going, whereas MV gets tired a lot quicker after taking attacks from his opponents. Stamina goes to Heisei. MV can't even go on fighting for 12 hours against Kong without tiring, and he was clear tired after fighting the Mutos for less than an hour. Physical durability goes to Heisei as MV was pierced by basic attacks from the Mutos and a stab from Kong's axe. Biollante did rip through Heisei's hand, but this was a weaker Heisei. Beam durability goes to Heisei as he was able to take Heisei Ghidorah's beams, Batra and Mothra's beams, not to mention he the beams of Mechagodzilla, whereas MV was burnt by Ghidorah's gravity beams and Mechagodzilla's beam, which are weaker than Heisei MG's beam attacks. AP is relative to durability, so Heisei would take it. Destructive capability goes to Heisei as it was stated that the only reason he went burning was due to consuming too much radiation in such a short span of time. And in this burning state he had the power to destroy the universe, which means that Heisei could have reached this universe destroying power without going burning. Melee and auxiliary weapons goes to Legendary due to his more flexible arms and legs, not to mention his much longer and more posable tail. Atomic and other energy-based weapons goes to Heisei as his beam is a lot hotter at a temperature of 500,000 degrees Celsius at base, whereas MV has a heat of 20 to 50,000 degrees Celsius. Heisei also has a pulse in his base form, whereas MV can only use it in a powered up state. The Muto Prime, that was not a pulse, and I'll explain that in another video. Regeneration goes to Heisei due to how quickly he regenerated his second brain after being boosted by Rodan, and how mere hours after fighting Biollante his hand had completely regenerated. Heisei will have a more controlled psychological approach going into this fight, whereas Emi will be going into this fight with anger and arrogance which will blind him. Heisei's combat approach is to beam first and use hand-to-hand combat later on, and his beam would do significant damage to MV. Whereas, in every single fight MV has been in, he typically goes charging in, and that won't end well in this fight. Defense goes to Heisei as he was able to fight Batra and Mothra very well at once, whereas MV got beat up by the Muto pair. Offense also goes to Heisei for this same reason. Dexterity goes to Heisei, as MV is shown constantly missing the Serpent Breath while fighting Kong and Ghidorah in the Arctic. Heisei uses precision to cut off Ghidorah's head in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. General IQ goes to MV, as he shows clear human emotion, well, almost human emotion, and ability to communicate with other titans. Battle IQ goes to Heisei due to his approach of using his strongest attacks first instead of charging in blindly. Agility goes to MonsterVerse Godzilla due to how clunky Heisei can be when trying to dodge attacks, except for the Space Godzilla attack, which is kind of a counter-argument. Battle experience goes to MV due to his age. Scaling goes to Heisei due to having a lot more statements and crazy power levels. And so in conclusion, our winner is Heisei Godzilla. But why? Straight away Heisei would begin this fight by beaming MV, and Heisei's beam could do a lot of damage to MV. So his beam heavy strategy wouldn't be used to make him weaker like many people say. It would actually work very well in this fight. But the main factor is energy and stamina. Heisei Godzilla has no limit to how many times he can shoot the Serpent Breath, and it never weakens, whereas Legendary's beam does get weaker. And Heisei is never shown to lose stamina in his films, whereas MV does lose stamina. So while MV would do well if he got near Heisei, this fight would end up being a slaughter as MV tries to get near to Heisei but is constantly beamed, and when MV is weak enough, Heisei would go in for the kill and win this fight with mid to low difficulty. I hope you all enjoyed this rather long video. Well, it might be long, I'm not sure. And I'll see you all next time. Until then.